Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to WrestleMania. And I'm your host, John Scott. That music can only mean that it is WrestleMania season, and gonna now introduce my co-host into all this, Matt Essex. Matt, how you doing this week? And of course, we're gonna be having a good look at last night's events in WWE. The final. I say the final. It seems like it's gone on and on and on, these events, but yeah, Fastlane last night. We're going to be reviewing that a little bit, and all the latest news, loads of news coming out of everywhere, not just WWE, but all over the show. We'll try and cover as much as we can. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with the show whilst we're on live tonight, simply email us at wrestleline@gmail.com. Should be a good show. I'm going to bring Matt in now, and Matt, how you doing? Given that we are actually, believe this, Matt, only 3 weeks out from WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, I'm good, and there's a lot going on. I mean, there's still a lot going to be going on before we get to Mania. But hopefully now we're seeing that things have taken shape, and we've got a good idea of the matches that we're going to get, and no doubt there's going to be some more made, but we've got some solid matches, and the main event, looks pretty much set. So I think we're all ready for Mania now, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy. It was only really until I looked at the calendar today and I was like, wow, only another 3 Raws to get to WrestleMania, which, we'll get on to later, but I really do think that's quite short. I really disliked having this pay-per-view positioned where it was. I think 1 is more than enough before WrestleMania. Personally, I would rather more time to build more stuff. I do feel slightly rushed at some of these matches that are hitting us now. But Matt, of course, last night was the final stop before we're on the real trek to WrestleMania. Of course, Fastlane, we had Elimination Chamber not too long ago, and even then we were talking about how on earth they are going to manage to get another pay-per-view and then build towards the biggest event of the year, and obviously they managed to do it. I've got to say, Matt, I know last time when we did a little summary and all the rest of it of Elimination Chamber, I said I wasn't too enthusiastic going into it, so therefore I was going to come out of it sort of, only one way. This one, I have to say, the week building to this event, I kind of started to get a little bit sort of upbeat about it. I felt like there were some matches on there that I thought, this could be good, and storyline wise, I was kind of digging it a little bit more into this one. But Matt, you going into this one, how was you feeling? And was it like last time for you, or was you getting a little bit of a WrestleMania vibe as well?
Yeah, I think it's right to go into these kind of events not having great expectations. I mean, I'm not being too negative about it. I'm just saying that we all know that what everyone's waiting for is WrestleMania. So are they really going to step out of their comfort zone and change things up too much? No, not really. And that's why we saw quite a few title retains on this, people keeping their titles, because I think the road to WrestleMania was almost pretty much set before this was even there. And that's why, as you said, it feels like a pointless pay-per-view, because it's just having one for the sake of having one at the end of the day.
Yeah, it did. It was a bit like that, wasn't it? And for me, yeah, like I say, it's I just think one too many now, personally, on all this. But Matt, let's start with last night's stuff then, and what we got here, because there's a lot to get through, and I'm going to kind of sort of slash review, summarise this as best as we can. I did manage to get in most of the matches, but some of the stuff I missed, so I will definitely be calling upon your expertise, Matt, as always. Now, we had, of course, the stuff at the beginning. Now, the actual pre-show, for a change, Matt, seemed like there was some stuff going on for a change, which is slightly different, because these kick-off shows can be, everyone knows what I think about it. If you listen to this podcast enough, that I have my rant about it, but a little bit more stuff going on in this one, and sort of storyline driven, which was good, sort of all interlinking. But Matt, what did you make of this whole New Day up against Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, and also, just a side note, Matt, Shinsuke and Nakamura, where they are on the card currently, is this an indication that these two guys in particular are possibly not going to be around too much longer.
Yeah, it's not great for them too, is it really? I mean, you sent me a link earlier about how he's now tied for the all-time losing streak.
17 in a row.
Can WWE have any less faith in a guy? It's quite apparent when you're just pretty much a high talent jobber now, so it's not great. The future looks a bit bleak, and we've said this before, and I really do feel like they would be better suited somewhere else, like applying their talents in a different company, a bit of a breath of fresh air into their career. It's well needed for them. There's so much talent in the WWE now, and they're focusing elsewhere that there's just not really a space for them, and it is sad to see. But the good thing about wrestling in this day and age is there's always somewhere else you can go now, and particularly now we've seen new companies starting up, so perhaps there's possibilities there. But this whole New Day match that came about, and like you said, it all tied into some backstage stuff on the pre-show, as this match is on the pre-show also. But I do kind of feel like this is all part of a bigger story, isn't it? It all feels like, even though they had this match, it is still tied into the Kofi Kingston story and where he's going, and perhaps what his route to WrestleMania is. And I feel like they're doing a good job of actually creating a star. I mean, I know Kofi was already a star, but they're bringing him to that next sort of tier. They're getting the fans to really want him, and we could see this throughout the night. There was going to be Kofi chants. People wanted him, and having the New Day out on the pre-show is just a good way to remind the fans that Kofi will be here later tonight, and we'll talk about that in a little while, I suppose. Yeah.
Now the actual match, of course, but that we had, of course, a New Day. Went over, no real surprise for me. I kind of saw that one coming, but of course they defeated Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, quite unbelievable that Nakamura of all people is now classed on the kickoff. Like I say, a year ago this guy was the Royal Rumble winner. He had a lot of momentum at this point, even at this juncture last year up against AJ, and quite a crazy 12 months really, I think, and not gone in the right direction for him. I seriously thought after last year's WrestleMania, when he done the heel turn, that was going to be the start of some very, very big, bold things from him, but it really does look like they've dropped the ball with him now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we really don't see him in anything spectacular at WrestleMania, quite frankly, which is quite a shock, considering he's where he was on the card last year. But I'm sure, as Matt's already alluded to, we'll talk about more of that. This match, Matt, as a pre-show, I mean, it's difficult, obviously, as we always say, but it wasn't too bad. And I felt like for storyline reasons, this was sort of acceptable. I mean, at least there was a bit of a purpose to this one. It wasn't just a match like they often put a 205 stuff down here. I was kind of glad they kind of did something here that was sort of a little bit part of the main show for later, and sort of played into it. What did you make of the match yourself, Matt?
I thought it was pretty decent, and once I heard that The Miz and Shane McMahon and the Usos were going to kick off the main show, I knew I was seeing a match that was going to be better than the next one. There's no disrespect to the other guys involved, as long as they're not talking about Shane McMahon, that is, but still, I thought, okay, it's a bit strange to have back-to-back tag team matches, but I was impressed with the pre-show one, and I'm sure next we'll talk about the next one, but solid effort, and actually made the pre-show worthwhile watching for once.
Absolutely. So match went just over 13 minutes. Powerbomb kick out was a bit much, but I've put it here in my notes. But everything else was pretty decent. I never rate these ones, so I'm not going to start now on rating these ones. I think we'll probably rate the WrestleMania kickoffs because it's WrestleMania, but that's going to be as far as I go on that one. Matt, do you want to rate that at all, or are you happy to move on?
No, I think I'll stick with your tradition there.
Fair enough.
Let's not actually be biased about the pre-shows.
Fair enough. Okay, so now we get on to the main show, of course, what everyone's been waiting for. So the first match, as Matt said, it was the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos, the current champions, up against Shane McMahon, Mr. WrestleMania himself, the new Mr. WrestleMania, up, and of course The Miz. And knowing this was going to be number one, I kind of suspected that it was either going to go one way or the other, and I don't know if there was a great. I feel like it was a lose-lose scenario at the end of it. It was either going to be perhaps the Miz and Shane winning it back and going on even more, or this scenario was going to happen, and I'm not too sure which one I prefer, if I'm totally honest with you. But talk about the match. And first of all, I do want to make a note here. I kind of really dig in the Usos at the minute. I think those guys are really, the kind of they're back to their best again, and a little bit unfortunate they're kind of stuck in this part. But I'm hoping that something along the line may come good for them. Of course, there's a lot of talk about their contracts, whether they're going to sign again and all the rest of it. I'm hoping they work something out, but of course they're great talent, so wherever they go, they're going to be pretty well used, I'm sure of it. But I suppose on their part, it's maybe how much is left really that they can do in WWE, considering how long they've been there at this point. But I mean, Matt, we speak about Shane McMahon an awful lot, maybe more than I want to. For me, this was, I don't know, I'm not really into it, so I may sound a bit biased, and I'm sure if you're a Shane or a Miz fan, you're going to maybe like this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a bit of a Miz fan of late. In fact, to his work in the last 2 years, I've made no secret of that, but I don't know. I feel like there's more for this guy. I really do. And, I'm kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just like how many more times do we have to get to, I just knew something was coming at the end of this. Like I say at the start, it was either going to be one way or the other. Now, the match itself for me, I can't say I was really overly impressed, but for what it was, for who was involved, and it was more story driven, I feel, in this one than anything else. And maybe that wasn't a bad idea, because I don't really think bell to bell you're going to get a 5-star match. But I think for what they had and who was involved, I think it was pretty decent. I gave this a sum up of just 3 stars for me on this one. But what about for you, Matt, the match itself, before we talk about the shenanigans at the end, but the match itself, Matt?
Yeah, I will agree with you there. Pretty run-of-the-mill for me, standard 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do anything more than I was expecting of it. I think probably more than I've seen recently, Shane McMahon had a more solid kind of showing. He actually did more in the ring than he usually does, and no extreme stunts, So that's good for him.
Well, that might be saved for something else.
Away from that.
And of course, after the match, Matt, we had, of course, the post-match business, which something was going to happen, and of course. You have Miz helping Shane out of the ring, and then Shane raises the Miz's hand in front of his dad, and I can't believe his dad's still involved with this. Wasn't it Jimbo that said Jimbo said Vince and Shane versus Miz and his dad at WrestleMania? Just imagine it now. You get Shane high-fiving the Miz's dad, and then all of a sudden, he just literally clocks the Miz from behind, beats on the Miz in front of his dad, and getting some major heat. But I mean, what a strange scenario really that we've got here, Matt. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly a Shane McMahon fan, so I don't really mind as much that he's turning heel, but it is going to be a bit odd, isn't it, Matt, for him to be playing this role now? I kind of feel like he's going to go in the Triple H Stephanie category, where 1 minute they're bad, then the next minute they're good, and we're all confused every single time we see them because we don't know what we're cheering for. But I kind of feel he may go into that, because Shane, for some reason, he does have his followers, and The Miz is such a good kind of natural heel. I'm kind of surprised they're going this route a little bit. And I don't know where it's going to get to by the time at WrestleMania, but I can't say I'm overly excited for this one, if I'm totally honest with you. And I know people out there, I've had a lot of emails, and they said to me, actually, before I kind of rant on this, I should think about, Shane gives some people the rub. Does The Miz need it at this